A freighter loaded with tamarin grain is due within the hour. Quark says Damar should have his eyes examined. And Odo got it bad for the female changeling. And a bonus, Cadet Nog is promoted to ensign. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 7th Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk. Today, we are doing a review of Season 6, Episode 5 of Deep Space Nine, Favor the Bold. It is a Nog episode. We are joined by Mochi the Cat and Malissa Longo.
Hello over there.
For those of you that are just listening in, Mochi is taking up about 2/3 of Melissa's picture and like eating a cricket or something. I don't know. How you guys doing?
It's paper towels. Oh. Right.
Who eats paper towels?
Mochi. It's the way to distract her from, clawing my face off.
By the way, this episode, Favor the Bold, is written by Ira Stephen Bear and Hans Beimler, and it's directed by Rick Colby. And this aired for the first time on October 27th, 1997. Oh, it was a simpler time back then.
1997.
I was just going to ask you, Cirroc, do you remember where you were in 97? I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You were on set. You're right. You were right there in our TVs.
Yeah. It was a couple of episodes ahead of this one. It's funny because when you said Hans Beimler, I thought of Boimler, and I said, well, I wonder if that's a little tribute there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
now when I write Beimler in my notes, my computer autocorrects it to Boimler, which is just crazy.
Yeah. Rick Colby, director of this episode, another Rick Colby episode. And just as a little reference point of fact, when I look up Rick Colby, one of the other credits in his history is A Man Called Hawk.
Really?
So,
whoa.
Yeah, look that up, guys, and look, verify, trust but verify. But he is, he is a director that worked with Avery many years before DS9, and if I'm not mistaken, he's a German American, but he's also may have even come at the request of Avery. So maybe that's his entire affiliations. It's not an accident that he was brought aboard to be a director on the show.
Avery seemed to have quite the influence on the show in many ways. Like every once in a while, he's directing episodes himself. He's making suggestions, whispering in ears. Seemed like he kind of had his hand in a lot of different departments to make sure that the show was as good as it could possibly be.
And just like everybody else that they use them a lot. So once you were in the rotation, you were pretty frequently used. And LeVar Burton, Jonathan Frakes, all of these people that were in the heavy rotation as far as directing. And Rick Colby was definitely one of those guys. But yeah, excellent episode. I mean, it's nonstop right now at this point where you're just getting just magic after magic after magic, regardless of what scene it is. So it doesn't matter what coupling of actors that you have in the scene. It's just also juicy.
Yes, agreed. There's so much in this. I'm like, okay, and I like this, and I like this, and I like this, and I can't type this fast.
I know.
I can't type fast enough. And then there's one point where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop typing because I just want to watch the episode.
Yeah,
girl,
because it's so
same.
good.
I did this about 2/3 of the way through it. I was like, I gotta just start enjoying these episodes, or I'm the number one thing I'm going to miss is performances. If I'm taking notes on lighting, if I'm taking notes on all this great dialogue and all these important, writing and structural things, I'm going to miss acting. And where that happened to me was there's always the same person that makes me say, Brian, stop what you're doing, watch the acting. And it's Wei-Yun, it's Jeff Combs.
Jeff.
And in this scene right here, for those of you listening in, it's when he's looking at the painting and it's hilarious. And I was like, Ryan, finish taking your notes and then go back and watch that scene from the beginning, because he's going to give you some juicy morsels that you cannot miss. And it was a great scene. There's so much going on in these episodes right now, right? There's like 6 different storylines in 6 different places all happening. And you forget, you go, oh yeah, I forgot that these guys are going on. Or are you going to say, Melissa, were you going to say you're just in love with the relationship between Odo and the female changeling?
Oh, no way.
That's what you were going to say. You're going to I ship them so hard right now.
Oh, no. Every time they're together, I'm like, oh no, what are you doing? Come on, dude. Get it
Do you want
together.
to know the answer to that question? Because I can tell you.
I already know what they were doing.
Yeah, they said what they were doing.
I know. I actually thought about you, Cirroc, at the beginning there, where the female changeling is like, so that's how humans experience intimacy or solace. And she acted out of breath. I don't know if you got that, but she was like, whew, you really did something to me there, Titus.
Yeah. It was only 3 days worth, it's a whole lot.
Oh my God.
3 days worth. Yes. But one of the things that I noticed, aside from the cringe of Odo's choices right now.
For 3 days straight.
For 3 days straight. Although he didn't know it was 3 days. But,
why does he get so horny in the middle of the war? Like, of all time, you had 5 seasons to get horny. Why didn't you do it like in season 2?
Hey, man, Odo got a Odo.
Yeah.
Well, why do you think
this is not
Cirroc, he's been alive for how many decades?
Yeah.
And he's never. So, I mean, he's like, wow, I like this new. It kind of makes me think of like an adolescent, teenager or whatever growing up that just discovers something. He's like, I can't get enough of this.
Well, he was floating along in the universe somewhere as goo for 100 years before Dr. Mora found him. So, Odo's old and now he's just beginning to experience things. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's a terrible time to hit puberty for Odo.
Yes.
Bad timing.
Bad timing.
Yes.
But there's so much going on, and what they've done such a very good job of doing thus far is bringing all of these storylines and building on them and building on them and building on them. And so there's so much layer when you finally get into these scenes. When you get into the Zeal scene, you know about the conflict and you know about the history. When you get into Wei-Yun, who's just fantastic about it, and he starts to talk about his own let's say faults, right? His lack of aesthetic appreciation and his lack of vision. So he's actually in some way, coming to his own questioning of his existence in some type of miniature way, which is another like growth in these characters that we keep seeing growth in each one of these characters. And it's just so lovely.
It happens so quickly. Like it feels like each episode is weeks long. In the universe of Deep Space Nine, and it's only 40 some odd minutes, and they're telling these stories, these rich, developed stories with a lot of characters, and revealing of characters, and how these characters are learning and growing and changing and being influenced by each other, and the relationships is incredible. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've seen a whole season in this one episode, because it's so full of good stuff. So full.
And to piggyback off what you guys were saying in the beginning, I found myself doing the exact same thing. I was writing down all the dialogue, and at some point I said, wait a minute, I'm just going to rewrite the script. Let me just You know,
I know.
You're just taking notes of the script. Yeah.
I'm like, wow. And you know, the lines were great. I mean, when Nog comes in to see O'Brien and he's got the ensign uniform on and he's so excited, and you can see you know, his chest is puffed out. He's like, he's really feeling himself. He's like, you know, do you see what I'm wearing? It was like, I know you're looking at this, right? And he's so proud about it. And then O'Brien cuts him down right away.
Yes, that's a great line.
The line is so classic. I think he says, "I didn't realize things had gotten that bad around here."
Yeah.
And it was such a cut down, and it was like a deflated thing. But then he builds it back up, like, you know, congratulations, I'm proud of you. And then does the, you know, the break me down, build you back up again type of buddy relationship that they've had this whole time.
It's such a good I don't want to use demonstration, but that's all I can think of right now, of their relationship, and their relationship is banter. They banter back and forth, you know, nudge each other in the side and give each other a hard time, but you know, O'Brien's proud of him, and from the way Nog said, if only the guys back at my class could see me now, it seems like he was made ensign ahead of his classmates, so which is an achievement in and of itself. He should be proud of that.
I mean, of course he should be proud. First of all, he's on the bridge in the middle of the action. It's like being in the game in the fourth quarter when the game's tied. If you're in the game, it doesn't matter if you were drafted first or if you're a bench player. It means you're playing very well right now.
Doesn't matter who started. It's who's closing out on a close game.
And to me, that's Nog's experience, right? He may be the rookie. He may be the guy with not that much experience, but we see him on the bridge. He's at the station. He's manning one of the stations at some point. And so we see that he's given a lot of responsibility because they know that he's capable of handling it. And I believe that it's just tremendous growth in character. Damar has a lot of growth in this episode. We get to see, you know, his thoughts and, you know, how manipulative and conniving he is, and how much he hates Kira, which I love the fight scene.
I love their relationship. The tension is like, oh my gosh, I'm like, don't mess with Kira. She's,
I love how not one-dimensional the character is, but how single-minded and focused he is. You look at Dukat. Dukat is very conflicted. He wants Major Kira to love him. He wants the people to think of him as benevolent, right? He wants Zial to love him. In fact, it shows that he cares about what Zial thinks more than he cares about this war, because he's supposed to be planning this war and all he cares about is Zial liking him. But Damar doesn't have, I mean, he's got alcoholism, but he is single-mindedly focused. Like, he just wants to win this war. He wants to stick it to the Bajorans. He wants to go up in his ranks. Like, he is a soldier, you know.
He is a Cardassian through and through. Like, he says Quark is a credit to his race, but Damar is a credit to his own race. I mean, talk about totally what this guy represents is the Cardassian military and their thoughts.
That line that line with Quark though, when he said you're a credit to your race, Cirroc, I don't know if you were going to say that, but like, that was such a good line because it was half compliment, half insult. You know, he's kind of like complimenting him, but, you know, saying, hey, you're a shithead, which is just like the rest of your race. So you are a perfect Frankie.
There was zero compliment in it, I think.
Backhanded compliment is what I put in my notes.
It was a compliment to himself for being so manipulative and being able to, you know, make the Ferengi to give up the goods on information. But I really just to talk about character-wise for Damar, it was like the moment that he's about to tell Quark what's going on, there's a Bajoran sitting next to him at the bar, and the look that he gives him, like, get the hell out of here, right? Like you're not welcome here, was just, that pretty much summed up who Damar is, right? He doesn't respect the agreement with the Bajorans. He's just there right now, temporarily doing what he has to do until the moment comes when he can, affect his will on the situation. But I mean, the characters are so rich. There's so many things going on in this. For one, I just wanted to say something about Captain Dax. I thought she did a great job as leading the crew and being a captain for that time period that she was in this episode. She looked really authoritative. She looked confident, and I like the way she was. She seems constantly aware of morale. So she's constantly, she's in tune with her team as far as, are they feeling up or down about the way things are. And they carried that over from the last episode when she kind of did the whole photon tradition and laid it down. And she was talking about morale and trying to build the morale of the keep the morale up that Sisko had built. So I just like the way that she's so conscious and in tune with her squad, her team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, I love how she approaches the captain's chair differently. And I noticed that in the last episode too, when they were doing the whole tradition of the nacelle, putting it up against the wall, and she and Sisko said the same exact speech, but they both said it in their own way, and it had its own weight to it, and from each character's perspective, which was beautiful. And in the same when in the opening scene with her commanding the Defiant, captaining the Defiant, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so good at this. Good job, Dax. It's good to see her in that chair.
That's like a metaphor for actors too. You give two actors the same line, they're going to deliver it differently, and they're both going to bring some new meaning to it that you may not have considered. And that's what it's almost like they're two actors saying the same line, bringing their own personality into it. And speaking of an actor bringing personality into something, I wanted to talk about everybody's favorite boy toy, Gul Dukat. That charmer, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah. He could charm the hat off a nun. So here's the thing. Yeah. We've noticed in the past how he says Bajorans instead of Bajorans, right? But what I hadn't noticed before is today he said the Jem'Hadar. I'm like, okay, this is a thing with him. This is not a one-time thing. He's calling them the Jem'Hadar and the Bajorans, and he probably likes peanut butter and jelly. Like, what's going on with this guy, man? So I wonder if that's a Mark Alimo thing, or if that's just Mark Alimo thinking, Gul Dukat, who knows? But that was just something I noticed, which was funny.
Yeah, and I had a note about Dukat too. He had a line in there where he was basically, you remember when he was instructing Damar to go and make sure that he goes to talk to his daughter. I need to meet with her.
Yeah.
But he has a line where he says, I want my daughter at my side. And the way he says it is in the same way that you would say that like about an animal. He doesn't have the same kind, like the way he wants things done is by obedience and, fall in line. It's not a earn your respect, earn your trust, earn your love. It's more of like, I demand you to do this. You stand here and you fall in line because this is what you're supposed to do as a daughter. And I was, and I'm obviously a great dad. So
bad dads, as you call them.
Yeah,
almost more about ownership than it is and optics
and how he looks.
Yeah.
Well, there was another line he said that I really liked, and And that was when when Wei Yun was talking a little jive to Dukat, and Damar says he should talk to you with more respect. So you see that Damar still looks up to him. Damar isn't just gunning for the top spot. He is a loyal soldier. Like, he's loyal to Cardassia. He's loyal to Dukat. Everything else is an enemy, different degrees of an enemy. But when he says he should talk to you with more respect, Dukat gives a good chuckle. He says, someday I'll let you teach him that lesson. And I'm like, that's like Dukat throwing him a bone. Like, you've earned it, buddy. And when we wipe out the Dominion, I will give you the honor of cutting this guy's tongue out, or whatever it is. Beautiful, beautifully written. I love that.
Yeah. Again, ownership. You get to do what I say when I say it.
And this episode is a lot about ownership in some ways, because when Wei Yun was challenged by Kira about having an appreciation for aesthetics, he got very defensive, and he said, the founders are never wrong.
Yes.
The founders are
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And so he's admitting to his own level of ownership by the founders. And Odo is clearly owned by the head founder lady. She is owning
She
him.
definitely owns part of him. That's for sure.
For the moment.
She's definitely got part of
she
him in her
literally
purse
tells
right
him
now.
to go.
I am.
She literally tells him to go run over there and play in the corner, and he gladly just hops over there.
He's like, okay.
For the moment.
Totally
he'll snap out of it. Spell.
Yeah,
He's under a
pray
spell.
that he does. I really pray that he does. I feel very bad for Zial. Zial has like so much pain inside her, because she is literally conflicted by both sides of her genetic makeup.
Yeah.
And it's so gut-wrenching to watch her kind of go through this process of having a crappy dad like that, and really having nobody who cares about you other than Kira. So it's like, it's kind of, I feel bad for her. I really do.
Yeah, she has a few bright spots. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I was going to say, but the one redeeming thing is that even though I don't like the way he goes about it, there is still something about Dukat that he has a soft spot for her. Yeah. And I'm glad that exists, because it makes him gives him some redemption, some redeeming qualities, makes him like a sliver of human or humane.
Yeah.
Which is why he's such a good bad guy, because there are moments when you can empathize with him, but he's still, a crappy person.
You watch your mouth. Dukat is a sweetie. He's misunderstood. The way he loves Major Kira, he loves Zial. He treats Damar with kindness and respect. He bites his tongue around Wei Yun, because he understands, that is the job that he must do. I mean, what more do you want from this guy?
And Ryan, when I watch these episodes, when Worf delivers a line, I always imagine you saying it now. It's crazy. I can't watch Worf say one of his classic Worf lines without imagining your impersonation of it. Yeah. And there was one in this episode where Sisko says, well, then, make sure you go and get, you lead your ship, or you go with him or something. And Worf says something like, you will have it done, right? Something to
and
one
you
of
shall
Worf
have it, or something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I'd put that one in mind.
No, but it was, I think, and you shall have it, I think. And the way he says it, with the inflections that you impersonate, are exactly how he said it. So it made me just bust out.
I'm going to keep working on it then. I wish I'd written that down. I got to write down all the funny Worf lines. But we got a lot more to talk about. We got to take our break, including more about Wei Yun and the picture behind me in that scene there. I did have one little nugget to talk about a little later. But there's so much stuff. We'll try to get to it all, including in the free-for-all. We'll be right back on the 7th rule, if you can believe that.